what's up? This is Jason from Building 429.
Hey, this is Colton Dixon.
Hey, this is Francesca Battistelli.
Hey, it's John Muskillet. You're listening to Dispatch Radio.
Well, I tell you, they are a big, big part of our show. You've heard us talk about them. We've interviewed both of the key members for For King and Country. They've been Grammy Award winners. We've talked to them during the Winter Jam. It's been such an amazing experience to get to know them a little bit, see how an amazing influence, and it is just with incredible excitement that I can tell you folks about their new album Burn the Ships. Talk about their new tour, going out doing Little Drummer Boy, the Christmas tour again with Zach Williams, who should be doing his own tour. He's so amazing, and obviously Corey Asbury's on some of those shows, so make sure you check your list. We'll make sure we have links to that. It is great honor. I'm just so excited to have Joel Smallbone with us. Joel, thank you so much.
Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate your kind words, and it's good to be on with you.
Oh, it is so great to talk to you again. Let's just jump right to the new album. It's obviously Joy Has Broken, and a couple of the other songs we've been kind of teasing a little bit on some of our intro and outro music and that kind of thing. So give folks a little insight on kind of how this album kind of came to be and what some of the take-homes people will have from it.
Yeah, well, it's a very dynamic record, man. There's a lot of life that Luke and I have both lived in the last few years since the release of our second record. And everything from I became a United States citizen last year to Luke and his wife walked through a pretty serious bout of addiction to medications during her pregnancy of a second child, and, which was really what provoked the title Burn the Ships, to, you know, kind of the spiritual journey we've been on over the last few years. And so it's all of those things. It's kind of it's a romantic record. Our wives are very involved. It's a social record, caring about American people more than ever. And it's certainly a spiritual album. And I think one of the distinctions between it and the last project is we really wanted every moment and every sentiment to really count and be centered in something very real for either Luke or me or both of us. And so any time on this album that we felt something was not ringing completely true, it really got cut out of the record very quickly. So what you've ended up with is 11 tracks and 38 minutes of music that both Luke and I are deeply, deeply invested in.
You mentioned real, and I got to tell you, you brother, you guys are at the pinnacle of just being who you are and your public persona, almost probably to a fault. I know we had Luke on, he talked about his battle with illness. We've talked about some of the struggles with the kids. If you follow them on Instagram and Facebook, I mean, folks, they're very transparent about calling for prayer, telling you what's going on in their personal lives and that kind of thing. Is that kind of a double-edged sword for you guys, where it's kind of like become part of your identity? I think is the draw for many of your fans, but it's also kind of odd to be so publicly transparent about things.
I think we find ourselves, and I'm kind of speaking as a fresh American citizen here. I think we find ourselves at an interesting crossroads as a nation, where because of technological advancements and really good things, social media, smartphones, the internet, people are able to present their lives in a very glamorous light. And there's a little bit of irony to it, because we're communicating more than we ever have. But statistically, it seems like we're connecting less than we ever have. Before the internet and cell phones and all the rest of it, 20% of Americans claim to be lonely. Now, in 2018, almost 50% of Americans are claiming to be lonely. And yet, in that 38-year span, we have, like I said, through technology, we've become more connected. And I think it's because there's a responsibility to the world of musicians and people in the arts. I even applauded Carrie Underwood a couple of weeks ago in being very candid about some miscarriages and how she questioned God through it and all the rest of it. I thought we can't afford, and maybe it is to a fault sometimes for Luke and I, but we can't afford to be putting on airs And I hope to be part of the conversation of saying, hey, I'm just going to write kind of in a very honest, candid, creative, but real way. And hopefully, and I think we're seeing it already, we're just wrapping up this album release tour, people once again, man, the profound stories of encouragement. I had a personal friend of mine text me 2 days ago and said, there's a song that I wrote for my wife, Fight on Fighter, but it can be applied to, man, if you're struggling at work or your dad's got cancer or anywhere in between, just spurring someone on. And my friend said, man, that song got me out of bed this morning. And it's like, I will sign up for putting my heart on my sleeve as long as people respond in this way, because this is what, more than ever, I feel like this is what we all need to be doing, publicly, privately. Is sharing where we're really at, and that makes us all feel less alone.
It's definitely an amazing, transparent story, folks. We talked about Run Wild, Live Free, Love Strong. It was definitely a key part of that, and the stories behind those songs, some of the other songs that have come along, and it's great to see that on Burn the Ships. And folks, if you haven't seen the music video, I have to ask Joel, because I mean, let's be honest, you look like two guys who just wanted to blow up a ship. I'm just saying, is that like, did Ben direct this?
He did. We did 5 music videos, actually, half the record so far, and we released one a month for 5 months leading up to the release on October 5th, and he directed all of it. And then we shot them everywhere, Brandon. We shot them in Iceland and Seattle, the Salt Flats in Utah, LA, Tennessee, and so we made a bit of a song and dance about it.
I want to know who gets to decide and say, yeah, I want to blow up a ship. Who wants to do that? Who wants to? Yeah.
Well, we were trying to go like that for the title track, which is the most recent video we released. Which, by the way, if you've seen it, this is a little fun fact. That ship, if you were a fan of the Pirates of the Caribbean, on the first one, it's the Interceptor. It's the one and the same ship. So we were very fortunate to be able to film. We spent 2 days filming the music video. But I remember Ben called me, and I'd initially thought, man, well, maybe we were on the shore. How are we going to portray this? And he's like, man, I think we've got to go straight for this, and we've got to basically, it's called Burn the Ships. We've got to blow up the ship. And I remember saying to him, hey, well, if we do this is a gamble, because this is about as on the nose as you can go. You have a song called Burn the Ships, and you have a ship, and the ship is going to burn. So it has to be, people have to be convinced that ship is burning. It can't look like a boat with a little candle flame on it. And to his credit, it was a lot of effort. The water was very cold. It was the Seattle water, but I think he pulled it off.
I think it's fantastic. I will say, it's not you. It's your brother Luke when he stands up out of the water. He's got this little smirk on his face, like, we just blew up a ship. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Folks, we have to transition into talking about Christmas. The Christmas tour, it's all over the country. If you're on the East Coast in North Carolina, it'll be up through Pennsylvania and D.C., out in the Midwest, Illinois, Ohio, Michigan, if you listen to us online. But if you're listening to us here live, if you're catching us online, Fort Myers, Tampa, West Palm Beach, and Jacksonville, an incredible experience. You've seen the videos online. I know that was a big deal last year. Joel, how do you revisit that? You don't want to just do the exact same thing again, but it was so powerful and so impactful. You almost don't want to let people down. It's almost like mountains of pressure once you have that kind of success.
I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate your understanding. There is a kind of an expounding on the show that we will do each year. I love Christmas. That's my favorite holiday. And I feel like even this time in history, I think it's more important for us to come together and celebrate.
Amen.
What I believe is the greatest intervention that the world has ever seen, and the greatest redemption the world has ever seen. And so it's going to be some of the production elements and stuff we'll elaborate on it, but there's going to be a layer of familiarity from last year. But there's been a lot of water under the bridge as well because we've released a new album, and so we're going to lace in some Christmas classics. We're going to lace in some Christmas originals. We're also going to lace in a few songs from the new album, and really handle it kind of like this a story leading people into the Christmas spirit, the holiday season. And so I don't lose a lot of sleep about it. I get more excited about reshaping things a little bit and dreaming a little bit. We got a week of rehearsals going into it, and so it's a great group of people too. So it's one of my, if not the favorite tour that we do. And part of that is because we're kind of getting out of the way a bit as well and just singing these nostalgic songs.
It's fantastic, folks. We will link to everything that we've talked about. Burn the Ships, Little Drummer Boy, the Christmas tour with Zach Williams, different dates around. We'll make sure you can get the links that you can follow, not only some of the videos we've talked about, but also how to get a copy of the album and get plugged in with them. We can't thank Joel enough for being with us, and we appreciate all he does. And folks, stay with us. We'll come back around on the break. We got some more stuff to talk about, a little more fun stuff, but also more heavy stuff too, so stay tuned.